الحمد لله الذي قصرت عن رؤيته أبصار الناظرين وعجزت عن نعته أوهام الواصفين. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين بالقاسم محمد. أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى وقوله الحق وهو أصدق القائلين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Continuing with the theme that we had started, these majalis, messages from Ashura, discussing this great tragedy in the history of Islam. But again, reminding ourselves not to just focus on the how part of this calamity, as to how it took place and what went on. We need to delve ourselves and focus into why it happened. And when we look at the why part of it, we come across many reasons, many details, and the purposes why Imam ﷺ embarked on this journey. And from the very beginning, Imam, when he was leaving Medina, when he gave that address and he said, "Inni lam akhruj ashran wala batran wala mufsidan wala zalima," that my khuruj and my rise is not to cause fitna or corruption, injustice, or any of those sort of things in the society. إنما خرجت لطلب الإصلاح في أمة جدي. Indeed, the purpose that I'm leaving is because I want to cause reform in my society, in my community. And then Imam said something which is wajib upon every single one of us. أريد أن آمر بالمعروف وأنهى عن المنكر. That I want to perform Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahi anil Munkar. Inshallah, tonight, after a brief tamheed, we will talk about the concept of Amr wa Nahi in the struggle of Imam and the areas where Imam ﷺ emphasized upon it in his words, in his kalam, and in his action. Last night, the discussion that we were having was that of ithar. Ithar means preferring others upon yourself. And if you remember, the discussion began with some of the necessities of ithar, by which we meant that if these necessities were absent, ithar could not be performed. Among them was ikhlas. Among them was bravery. Among them was basira. And so we went into details of all of those except ikhlas. Khulus and sincerity is something which is very, very important to determine course of action as to why you want to do something that you're doing. And therefore, when we perform all of our ibadat, the first thing is ikhlas in our ibadat, and that's why we declare by saying qurbatan ila al-ab, qurbatan ila al-um, or qurbatan ila Allah. Do we say to seek nearness to my dad? To seek nearness to my mother? No, to seek nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We don't say qurbatan ila al-ab, or qurbatan ila al-um, or qurbatan ila al-akh, or qurbatan ila al-jar, or so on and so forth. No, it's qurbatan ila Allah. We're showing this sincerity and khulus, that yes, that Allah who is not in need of this ibadah, yet we're doing it solely for His sake. Because what did Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib ﷺ said? When he was asked in regards to the ibadat, he said, I did not worship Allah tama'an fil jannah, because I had the greed for the paradise. Aw khawfan min an-nar, or I was scared of the hell. No, abadtu, I worshipped Him لأنه I found Him to be ahlan lil ibadah. I found Him to be worthy of ibadat, and that's the reason I went ahead and did His ibadat, did His worship. So here we understand the concept that Imam is saying. Well, majority of us, including obviously myself, when I say majority, don't exclude me from it, we're worshipping because we want the paradise. We're worshipping because we're scared of the hell. I'm going there with all the things and the examples that are in Quran as to what kind of place it will be. So we're afraid of it. And that's one of the reasons we perform the ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But that was not the case when Amir al-Mu'mineen is explaining his ibadah. I'm sure you all heard this hadith many times, that when Imam categorizes 3 different groups of people who worship Allah. He says, إِنَّ قَوْمًا عَبَدُوا اللَّهَ رَغْبَةً فَتِلْكَ عِبَادَةُ التُّجَّارِ. There's a group of people who worship Allah because they want something in return. There's this raghabat, that they want something in return. فَهِيَ عِبَادَةُ التُّجَّارِ فَتِلْكَ عِبَادَةُ التُّجَّارِ. This is the ibadat of a businessman. Businessman will not invest his time and energy and money in a place where he's not going to get anything in return. So this is a businessman type of ibadat, that you're doing it to find something or to get something in return. Nothing wrong with that. You and I are looking for this reward in the end, at the end of the day. But Imam said, I do not worship Allah for that reason. And then he said, إِنَّ قَوْمًا عَبَدُوا اللَّهَ رَهْبَةً فَتِلْكَ عِبَادَةُ الْعَبِيدِ. There's another group of people who worship Allah because they're scared of Him. Because of fear, out of fear. Nothing wrong with that. You and I do that all the time. But Imam said, فَتِلْكَ عِبَادَةُ الْعَبِيدِ. That's an ibadat of a person who's a servant. And I do not perform that type of ibadat. Lastly, Imam said, إِنَّ قَوْمًا عَبَدُوا اللَّهَ شُكْرًا لَهُ فَتِلْكَ عِبَادَةُ الْأَحْرَارِ. There's a group of people who perform the ibadat of Allah to thank Him that He made them worthy of this ibadat. That's the reason majority in the world is not worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's only a selected group of people who have this ability to perform the ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we thank Him in return that He has given us that ability. Otherwise we could have been among those millions of people who do not turn towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then Imam said, Tilka ibadatul ahrar. This is the ibadat of those who are free, because Allah has created you free. When He has created you free, this type of ibadat is something which we expect from you. Salawat bi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So the first and the foremost important thing is that we look at the concept of ikhlas. As to khulus should be there in every step of the way. You will, again, we're talking about Quran every majlis, and we're bringing a little bit from, Quranic sciences as well, that you search the word mukhlis, or you search the word mukhlisin. The word mukhlisin has appeared in Quran more than once. So you'll find many ayat which has the word mukhlisin in it. Again, go through the list of those. We're sort of familiarizing ourselves with the tafsir of Quran. So we kept on mentioning this ayat that we recite Surah Fajr verses 27 to 30. We do a little bit of tafsir. Here, just to familiarize ourselves with some of these words that are used in Quran. Search for the word mukhlisin, and you'll see a list of ayat in which the word mukhlisin has appeared. But then the root word has appeared in other areas as well. One of the ayat that you will find the word mukhlisin has appeared is when Hazrat Musa ﷺ was bringing his, Bani Israel was bringing these people with him, and he was trying to give them najat from Fir'aun. They were stuck at this place where there was river in front of them. You all know the story. This is where people started taunting Hazrat Musa. Oh Musa, you brought us over here. Army of Fir'aun is behind us. Water ahead of us. What should we do? Drown? And be dead? And this is what your plan was? You brought us all the way over here so that we can drown and die? This is where Hazrat Musa raises his hand. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for, dua. Oh Allah, bring me out of this problem that I'm facing. Otherwise my people will never believe in me. Look at the struggles prophets have to go through in order to satisfy and convince their people. And a lot of times they have to show a lot of miracles. This is where we understand those who require miracles are those who have weak iman. Their iman is not strong enough for them to just believe on what Prophet is saying. Prophet says, follow one God, believe in one God, worship one God. It's very difficult for them. They want proofs, they want evidences, they want miracles to be shown to them. But even then, those in their hearts, there's rust, will still not accept. So the ayat of Mukhlisin al-Din, we see one of the ayat is in this regard. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps him. He said, strike your staff. When he does that, the river parts, and then they're able to obviously go to. First they were scared. Water hanging like this, will it come down upon us? But nonetheless, they were able to cross. And once they had all crossed, Pharaoh's army wanted to come in, they all drowned. You know the story. But the ayat that revealed over there, what happened? These people, when they crossed, and no comparison, no resemblance, just so that we can have taqarrub al-dhahni, we can bring this example closer. Imagine I'm the imam, as I usually lead the prayers, so I'm the imam standing in front. You're Mamun, you're standing behind me, following the salat. If I was to take you somewhere, as usually I go for Hajj, and so I bring a group of people with me, and so I understand how it is to lead people, especially when you're performing Hajj or Ziyarah. It's very difficult to take a group of even 50 people along with. Hazrat Musa is bringing a lot of people with him. But here, you would imagine, you would understand that once I make them do something or bring them out of some difficulty, for example, at Hajj there are a lot of difficulties. There's difficulty of performing tawaf. There's thousands and thousands of people. It's not that easy. Right now if you go, it's very easy. But at Hajj time, it's very difficult. It's packed. When you go perform Rami Jamarat, strike this, stone the shaitan, it's very difficult. It's a chaos over there. You almost fear for your life. You get run over or there's stampede or whatnot. So when people that go in a group, when they're able to come out and perform these actions in a satisfactory manner, they come out, they want to hug you. Maulana, thank you very much for guiding us through this and you made us perform this act and whatnot. They're excited about it. They start believing in you. But look at poor prophets. That he performed this miracle, brought them out of this difficulty. They're on the other side of the island. Over here, the enemy has drowned. But they go back to their old habits. What is the ayah? فَإِذَا رَكَبُوا الْفُلْكَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ. They are the most sincere when they were upon this, or in regards to Hazrat Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam as well, when they climbed onto the ship, they were mukhlisin lahuddin. Or when they were able to cross by Hazrat Musa, they were mukhlisin to the top level. But Allah says, فَلَمَّا نَجَّاهُمْ إِلَى الْبَرِّ. When we brought them to a place which was dry, what happened to them? They returned back to their own old habits. Right away they denied everything. Allah just helped you. Hazrat Musa just performed this miracle. He brought you out of a difficulty, yet you don't see any, thankfulness and gratefulness after that. They go back to their old habits once again. So this is what prophets had to deal. So you will find the word mukhlisin. This is where our discussion began. In Quran, search for the word mukhlisin and you will see how many different places it has been used and what are some of the instances it has been used. But as far as you and I are concerned, we have tremendous amount of riwayat which talk about how ikhlas is the key to many or every one of our ibadat. For example, there's a hadith which says, Man akhlasa lillahi arba'ina sabahan. Whoever purifies or sincerely performs the ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for 40 nights or 40 mornings, Sabahan or laylan, both of these riwayat have come. 40 nights or 40 mornings. That's not much. Usually, each individual gets to live, I don't know, 60, 70, 80 years. Out of that, only 40 nights or 40 mornings are being asked over here. That is telling us how little faith Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has in us. That this hadith is only talking about 40. And that 2 days, not years. He said, whoever purifies or performs the ibadat of Allah with sincerity for 40 nights or 40 mornings, what will happen? He says, ظَهَرَتْ يَنَابِيُّ الْحِكْمَةِ مِنْ قَلْبِهِ إِلَى لِسَانِهِ. The springs of wisdom will come out, sprout out from the heart to the tongue of this person. Yet we see that none of that is happening to us. Or at least I haven't witnessed it. That means it's even difficult for me to perform the ibadat of Allah with utmost sincerity, even for 40 days, 40 mornings, or 40 nights. Salawat bin Muhammad wa So every step of the way, you need khulus, you need ikhlas. Even when you're building a mosque. So what is the purpose behind it? Why are you building this? There was a story of Behlul that someone built a mosque in his time, and that person, in front of the door, a big sign where the name of the mosque was, it also read, who built it? So the next day was the, opening ceremony of the mosque. It was all completed and everything. It was set for Muslimin and Mu'mineen to come and pray in it. This guy who was the builder, he made sure that he put his name in bold right in front. Bahlul, what he did, he went at night. He scraped off his name and put his own name over there. Just wanted to show to the people the sincerity of the person who's building it. Because you don't know what's inside the hearts. You and I cannot read the hearts of the people. We make judgments based on the zahir. So anyways, he went ahead and he scraped off his name and he wrote his own name over there. Next morning, when the whole Jamaat had gathered to go ahead and see the opening of masjid, when they see the guy who has put his name up there, he sees the name of Bahlul and his own name being removed over there, erased from there, right away he yelled and he became angry. He said, how dare you remove my name and you put my name, put your name over there. He said, I just wanted to show to the people the reason behind you building this mosque. How much khulus you have. Are you doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or are you doing it for your own sake? So even when you're building a masjid, and that's why there's a discussion of a mosque in Quran as well. Masjid-e-Dirar. There was a mosque that was built in the time of Rasulullah, especially when he was going for the Battle of Tabuk. These people in the place near Quba, they built this mosque, and Quran talks about it. The ayat was revealed, وَالَّذِينَ اتَّخَذُوا مَسْجِدًا دِرَارًا وَكُفْرًا وَتَفْرِيقًا بَيْنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. There was a reason behind them building this mosque. Why? They wanted to harm people, dirar, kufran, to disbelieve, وَتَفْرِيقًا بَيْنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. They wanted to cause tafriqa and discord among the mu'mineen, and use that against the mainstream Islam. Prophet was aware of their agenda. He went ahead and he destroyed that masjid. He brought it down. He said, this masjid has not been built on the basis of ikhlas and not on the basis of taqwa. That's why the very next ayat was revealed, which was talking about, what did it say? La taqum fihi abadan. Do not stand in such a masjid ever. Never. But then, what kind of masjid should you stand in? لَمَسْجِدٌ أُسِّسَ عَلَى التَّقْوَى مِنْ أَوَّلِ يَوْمٍ أَحَقُّ أَن تَقُومَ فِيهِ. The mosque which has been established on the basis of taqwa from the very first day is the mosque which is worthy to be standing in. And this is where we understand the problem that a lot of time when we are trying to do good, but we are coming from the wrong area. What does that mean? That means Islam is on truth. Do not try to sell Islam with falsehood. When you're propagating about the religion, you don't need to bring falsehood in it to sell this religion. Or there's no shortcoming or anything which has not been answered in this religion. There's everything that has an answer. You and I might not know the answer, but that does not mean the answer doesn't exist. We're not a religion which has a dead end. No, we can't answer this, unfortunately. This is how it is. There is a reason behind every single thing. You and I might not know all the answers. You come to me, Maulana, you just said today, there's a reason behind everything. Now you have this question in your mind for all these years. You go ahead and pose that question to me. I might not be able to answer that, but that does not mean the answer does not exist. And therefore there was a story, I'm sure you've heard many times. There was a person, people were praising him, saying that, how good a person this is. He's helping out the poor and the needy. And Imam said, okay, let me look at it. Who is this person? Imam one day followed that person. He went to, the bakery. While he was talking to the person over there, he stole 2 pieces of, bread. 2 loaves of bread. He moved on, and then he gave it to the gharib and the destitute. And then he moved forward, he went to a stand where they were selling fruits. He stole some fruit from there. He moved forward, and then he went ahead and gave it to the ghuraba and the hungry people that were sitting there on the street. Right away, Imam approached him. He said, what did you just do? Not understanding who Imam was, not realizing who Imam is. He right away, can you close the door? I think there's a noise coming. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Not knowing who Imam was, right away we said, have you not read Quran? Imam said, no, I have read Quran, but what is your point? I just saw you steal. He said, no, that's what I'm asking. Have you not read Quran? Imam said, please enlighten me. So there's an ayat in Quran which says, Man ja'a bil hasana falahu ashru amthaliha, or something of that sort, that whoever comes with a good deed, Allah will give him 10-fold as far as the reward is concerned. And then there's another ayah, وَمَنْ جَاءَ بِالسَّيِّئَةِ فَلَهُ مِثْلُهَا. The one who comes with a sayyah, with a bad deed, he will only get 1 of that. So as far as my good deeds are concerned, I get 10 rewards. 1 bad deed, I get 1 bad reward, or 1 reward. 1, salah for it, punishment for it. So I did 2 good deeds, I gained 20 rewards, but then there will be 2 minus from it, so still I'm in good, I'm in positive. Imam said, have you not read the ayat of Quran? إِنَّ يَتَقَبَّلَ اللَّهُ مِنَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. Allah only accepts from those who are muttaqeen. When you stole something, you came out of the realm of taqwa, so therefore your action is null and void. And this actually solves a lot of problems. When you are lacking taqwa, when you are lacking ikhlas in any of the actions, then don't expect this action to flourish. Don't expect this action to give any fruits later on. So what did Muhammad wa ala Muhammad? And so a person or 2 people came to our 8th Imam to pay a visit. And obviously Imam ﷺ knew of the reason of their visit. So they came to Imam and asked Imam in regards to Salat. Imam, should we pray full or should we pray, qasr? Hopefully that's not the masala over here in the city of Chicago, but in our state, in New Jersey, because we're a state, it's a huge masala. 14 miles, where do we count from? This is the whole one state, I don't consider myself to be musafir, and all those masail. It's a masala fiqhi, it's in riwayat. Maybe today you don't consider yourself to be a musafir. No, we're traveling in 5-star facilities, we're traveling in first class. I can be here from here to, across the globe in half a day, so why should I pray qasr? All of those questions arise. But nonetheless, these 2 people came and asked Imam, what should we do? Should we pray full or qasr? They were coming from far distance to see Imam in Mashhad. Imam said to one of them, he said, لِأَحَدِهِمَا وَجَبَ عَلَيْكَ التَّقْصِيرُ. To you should pray the qasr. Why? لِأَنَّكَ قَصَدْتَنِي. Because you came to see me. وَقَالَ لِلْآخَرِ. And to the second person, Imam said what? He said, وَجَبَ عَلَيْكَ الْإِجْمَامِ. You should pray full. 2 people coming from the same place. To one Imam is saying, you're going to pray qasr. To the other one Imam is saying, you're going to pray full. Why? Because Imam said, لِأَنَّكَ قَصَدْتَ الشَّيْطَانِ. Because your reason for travel was shaitan and not me. What does that mean? When you travel to perform something haram, your namaz is going to be full over there. But when you travel to perform for regular travel, your namaz will be qasr. Imam said, this one person has come to see me. That other person has come to see Mamun, our enemy. And therefore your namaz is going to be qasr and your namaz is going to be itmam. And this is where we understand the khulus and the sincerity as far as both of these people coming for this travel. But here we also understand the ilm of Imam alayhi salatu wasalam. You and I only are aware from the zahir of the person, but Imam has the knowledge of what is inside of the heart of this person. Salawat Sayyidi Muhammad wa So Imam Hussain, when he's going on this journey, he's also making his intentions clear. And the reason behind his khuruj was not to attain some sort of fame or to attain some sort of maqam in the history. No, Imam already had that. It's not for any status in the society, no. And that is why in the most difficult of the times, Imam said how it was easy for me to go through some of those times. Is it easy for one to see his own son, 6-month-old, be martyred in his own hands? Is it easy for a person to see all of his children and family members be butchered and killed in front of him? No, it's very difficult. But this is what Imam ﷺ said when he was holding on to the body of Hazrat Ali Asghar. He said this, he said, أَحَوِّنْ مَا نَزَلَ بِي أَنَّهُ بَعَيْنِ اللَّهِ. It is easy for me. Why? Because it's all in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is watching over it. Allah is aware of what's happening to me. It's not that Allah has stranded me alone. Hawwin bi ma nazal. It's easy, it has become easy upon me. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always watching. Unfortunately, you and I, and especially me, we are worried about people watching us. We do an act, we want someone to see it. If they didn't see it, we'll try and do it again so that they see it next time. Not realizing that the one who you want to show to is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who's always watching as to what you're doing. Alam ya'lam bi anna Allah yara. Do they not know? Do you not know? Do they not know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always watching? So this is where khulus also comes into play. This is where all sincerity comes into play as to when we perform an action. If an action is done for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even if you don't get to the end of it, it is maqbool in the barakah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Here very quickly, as I just looked at the clock, running out of my time, I wanted to talk about the Amr bil Maruf and Nahi anil Munkar in the kalam of Imam and in the actions of Imam from the messages of Karbala, the theme that we have begun. Salawat Sayyidi Muhammad wa So Imam said, Inni uridu an a'mura bil maruf wa anha anil munkar. He made it very clear. What is my reason? What is my purpose? Why am I traveling? Why am I doing this? Because I want to perform Amr bil Maruf wa Nahi anil Munkar. That is something which is the ultimate goal of my journey, nothing else. So here Imam ﷺ, when he's making his intentions clear, Amr bil Maruf, Nahi anil Munkar, then nobody should doubt as to why Imam ﷺ did what he did. And that's where it's very difficult to understand some of the historians who have not done justice to Imam Hussain and the person standing in front of Imam Hussain. They start comparing the two people, when not realizing the purposes behind what they were doing. In fact, when they compare Imam and Yazid ibn Muawiyah, we see that how is it possible that you put the two names in the same sentence? And then you also say at the end, radiyallahu anhuma. I'm just quoting it. That may Allah be pleased with both of them. You're putting the names of two, one killed the other, and then may Allah be pleased with both of them. One of them has to be wrong. Why are you saying that may Allah be pleased with both of them? In fact, I can prove to you that Yazid, his aqaid were so bad, nobody could be worse than shaitan. But Yazid was even worse than shaitan. Why? And I'll prove it through Quran. At least shaitan believed in the wahdaniyat of Allah. Shaitan believed in the risalat of Anbiya. Shaitan believes, and believes still today, in the Day of Judgment. These are the three core beliefs, right? We have imamat and adl alongside with it, but the three core beliefs in our usul-e-din are what? Tawheed, Risalat and Qiyamat. Shaitan has belief in all three of these. Whereas when you look at the poetry of Yazid, which clearly mentions that he did not believe in any of these. He said, لَعِبَ بَنُو هَاشِمْ or لَعِبَ هَاشِمْ بِالْمُلْكِ فَلَا جَاءَ خَبَرٌ وَلَا وَحْيٌ نَزَلٌ. Hashim or Banu Hashim were playing with the mulk, with the government. There was no wahi that ever came down. There was no news that was ever brought. There was no Rasul, there was no Nabi, there was no Prophet, there's no Allah, there's no Khabar, there's no revelation. He's declining all of that. Whereas if you look at Quran, how Shaitan is admitting that the wahdaniyat of Allah, he's admitting, I'm not trying to play devil's advocate, literally devil's advocate, but he believes in all of these three things, as opposed to this enemy of Islam who does not believe in any of these. Why? Look at it. What did Shaitan say? He said, خَلَقْتَنِي مِن نَارٍ وَخَلَقْتَهُ مِن طِينٍ. Oh Allah, you created me. You created me. So he believes in the Creator, that you're the one who created me. You created me with what? Fire. And you created Adam with clay. And then he did the qiyas that I'm better than him. But he believes that who is the Creator? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the Creator. Then he said, oh Allah, give me respite so I can go ahead and mislead people. What did he say? He said this over here. He said, I will go ahead and mislead everyone illa ibadaka minhumul mukhlisin. Everyone except those who are mukhlis. The same word mukhlisin has appeared again. So if you go search the mukhlisin, you will get all of these ayat. Mukhlisin. Who are these mukhlisin? It is referred towards Anbiya. He's saying that I will be able to penetrate every single person's heart except those who are mukhlisin. And that is your Anbiya. I do not have the authority, nor will I be able to go ahead and mislead them. Anbiya are another place. Even there were some awliya Allah who were not masoom. Yet Shaitan did not have the ability to penetrate. Don't have time. I would share some of these stories, even of some of the scholars of Islam. Yes, we mentioned the stories of Anbiya, they were masoom. We mentioned the stories of Imams, they're masoom. But there are even some scholars who were at that level. I don't know if you've heard the name of Sheikh Ansari, who is the writer of the book Al-Makasib, which is taught in Hawzat al-Ilmiya. There's a story about him. We'll go through very quickly. There was a person in his time who narrated this story, and he had seen a dream. He saw in a dream Shaitan. What a thing to see in your dream. We fall asleep thinking that we'll see good things. We saw Shaitan in the dream. But nonetheless, he saw Shaitan, and Shaitan had different types of ropes with him. And he said, what are these ropes? Shaitan replied by saying, I use these ropes to strangle people and pull them towards me. And he said, I saw the biggest rope over there. And I asked him, who's this rope for? Thinking that it was probably for him. He said, I have this rope for Sheikh Ansari. He said, really? Sheikh Ansari was the alim at that time. He said, have you been successful using this big rope to lure him into wrongdoings? He said, no, even with the biggest rope that I have, I'm unable to penetrate. I almost caught him, but then he broke the rope and he came out of my strength. Then right away he said, okay, which one of these ropes do you have for me? He said, brother, I don't need a rope for you. I just point towards you and you come running towards me. I don't need a rope for you. So he narrated this dream to Sheikh Ansari. Next day he goes up to Sheikh Ansari and he says, I saw this dream. Shaitan said, he almost got you last night, but then you were able to come out of the strangulation of Shaitan. What happened? He said, well, I was in a need of some money, and I needed it for my personal reasons, and I had all of this Baytul Mal, money from Baytul Mal with me. I said, I'll use some money tonight and I'll put it back tomorrow. I almost went to Baytul Mal and took some money out, which was all in my possession. Not in some bank or anything. It wasn't all in my possession. But then I refrained from saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care of my need. I do not need to jump and use this money of Baitul Mal, it belongs to the people. Equally, I do not have any preference over this money. So I almost went to get some money from him, but then I pulled my hand back and I did not access that money. He said that's what had happened last night, and that's probably what Shaitan was referring to. So what did Muhammad wa So Shaitan believes in the khilqat, that Allah is the Khaliq. He believes in the mukhlisin, who are the Anbiya. And then he said, Rabbi fa'andirni ila yawmi yub'athun. Allah give me respite until the last day. So I'm going to go ahead and, mislead people. So he believes in the Day of Judgment as well. His beliefs are better than this person whom we've known and seen standing up against Imam ﷺ. Unfortunately, I don't have time to go in the details of what I had brought for you. But nonetheless, we see that Imam ﷺ constantly kept on reminding people as far as this Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi anil Munkar is concerned. And even towards the end, when he goes, he says, when he was leaving Medina, he goes to the grave of Rasulullah. He says, "Wa Allahumma wa inni uhibbul ma'ruf wa akrahul munkar." Indeed, O Allah, let it be known that I'm sitting on the grave of Rasulullah, that I love ma'ruf and I hate and abhor munkar. And then we see the similar things in the kalam of Imam ﷺ, and came in the ziyarat, which our sixth Imam taught us. What did he say? He said, "Ashhadu annaka qad aqamta as-salat wa atayta az-zakat wa amarta bil ma'ruf wa nahayta 'anil munkar." All of these things were mentioned so we understand what the purpose of Imam ﷺ was when he was embarking on his journey. The reason was to go ahead and perform this Amr al-Ma'ruf and Nahi anil Munkar. Why? Because Imam understands that this is a duty, inshallah I'll cover more tomorrow, that this is a duty of every individual. There's no exception, none whatsoever. A lot of people try to say that Imam's special duty was to perform Amr al-Ma'ruf and Nahi anil Munkar. No. Every single person's duty is to perform this. Why? Because an incident which took place in the time of Prophet Shu'aib, our fifth Imam quoted this. He mentioned that there were 100,000 people in the time of Prophet Shu'aib. 40,000 of them were evildoers. 60,000 were good doers. Detectives, they did all the good things and everything. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Hazrat Shu'aib, "Leave your people, because I'm about to send my adab on you." Hazrat Shu'aib wanted some clarification. He said, "Allah, majority are good doers, 60%. Well, first thing we understand that there's no majority when it comes to Islam. So, again, I'll give you one more word to go search. And you will see how the word majority has been manipulated. That wherever you find the word katharat in Quran, I'd say 99% of the time it has come in the negative connotation. أَكْثَرُهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ أَكْثَرُهُمْ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ أَكْثَرُهُمْ جَاهِلُونَ أَكْثَرُهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. Majority of the time the word akthar has been used in Quran, referring to majority of the people. Either la ya'lamun, they do not know, they do not believe, they are ignorant, so on and so forth. Hazrat Shu'aib is saying the same thing, pleading his case. Oh Allah, majority is good. Why are you then sending adab on the whole group? Allah said, because this majority, when it was their turn to perform Amr bil Ma'ruf, well, there was no Ma'ruf going on. When it was turn to perform Nahi anil Munkar, forbid those 40,000 people from performing evil, they did not. When they did not do so, they are included in the crime of those individuals. Therefore, adab will come on everyone. Here we're thinking ourselves that as long as I perform my duty, I've done my best. And I will be saved. And there's salvation for me. No. God knows who else will drag you into that hell alongside you. Because you have not performed this Nahi and Munkar. And so Imam is making sure that there's this person standing over there who's performing this evil, and his evil is far-reaching. I'm not going to sit quietly and not do anything against it. And that's the reason that Imam ﷺ is embarking on this journey. We see these examples that exist in Karbala. A lot of time we understand that yes, it is a normal thing for fathers to bear some sort of calamity. But for mothers, it's very difficult. Especially that too when it comes to children. You and I, when we are going on a travel, our mothers make sure they put on this Imam Dhamin that they give us in the zamanat of Imam of our time. So that this travel that we are going on to, we remain safe. We go safely and we come back safely. This is what our mothers do. And throughout the journey, they're making dua for us. Because of this special attachment, I don't think fathers do as much as the mothers do. That's why I want to question the mothers in Karbala. That what kind of heart these mothers have. That here all the mothers in the world are doing everything for the safety and the security for their kids. And throughout the journey making dua for them. But there's some unusual, don't mind the word unusual, there's some extraordinary mothers in Karbala. And my salam and our salam to those mothers. What kind of heart did they have when they're sending their kids, not asking for their safety and security, but rather saying, don't come back alive. I want you to go and sacrifice onto Imam. Karbala is something else. Those who were able to come, they presented their sacrifice. Those who could not come, they sent their sacrifice. Hazrat Abdullah is among those individuals whom Imam said that you have to stay in Medina. When you're facing a danger, honestly speaking, I might take maybe a couple more minutes extra over here. When you're facing danger, honestly speaking, if you have young children with you, and there's danger ahead, what you and I would do? Would we send our kids ahead or would we go first? We'll throw ourselves into danger to protect our family, right? This is where we understand those who raise questions about Hazrat Abdullah, that how big a heart Hazrat Abdullah has, that he sees the danger. Wouldn't he want to throw himself into that danger and protect his kids? No, it takes a bigger man to go ahead and put his children ahead, saying, yes, Imam, if I can't come, and if I have to perform this duty over here in your ghaibat, then please take my children as my sacrifice. This is the heart of a father as well. Those who could not come, Hazrat Imam Hassan knew that he will not be present in Karbala, but he sent his fidya in the form of Hazrat Qasim. Baneen knows that she is not going to be in Karbala, but she sends her fidya in the form of 4 Jawan who will make sure that Imam is okay as long as they're alive. And so we bring ourselves close to the story of 2 children of Janab Zainab and Hazrat Abdullah. Who are these 2 kids? From the father's side, they belong to Ja'far al-Tayyar. From the mother's side, they belong to Haydar al-Karrar. Subhanallah. Look at the bravery. They're the students of Hazrat Abbas. There's no comparison when it comes to the bravery. But it's still, a mother's heart is a mother's heart. I don't know how Janab Zainab would have prepared these 2 children to go and send them towards Karbala, into Makkah. The night of Ashur comes. Janab Zainab asked Imam, what is going to happen? Imam says, martyrdom is inevitable. The battle will take place. We will have to fight tomorrow, and everyone will die tomorrow. Instead of getting worried, all of these ladies over there are now preparing their qurbani. Janab Zainab gets busy in preparing Aun and Muhammad. She's reminding them, remember, you're the grandson of Ja'far al-Tayyar, whose hands, when he lost, Allah gave him wings. And you're a grandson of Ali Haydar al-Karrar. Make sure that you show your bravery and valor tomorrow. Make sure that you sacrifice yourself unto Hussein. Don't bring shame onto your mother tomorrow. This is how she prepares them. When they're prepared, they ask Mawla for the permission to go to the battlefield. Imam, how does he give permission to these young 2 children to go and sacrifice? Imam knows that whoever has gone to Karbala is not coming back alive. He has sent many of his companions already and none of them have come back alive. How does Imam give the death letter to these two children? But nonetheless, they bring their sifarish in the form of their mother. Janab Zainab comes to Imam saying, "Oh Hussein, you have never said no to anything that I have asked you. I have one more thing to ask you. Please give permission to my children so that they may go ahead and sacrifice them unto you." Imam has no choice but to say yes. These two, some of the riwayat mention they went separately, some mention that they went together, but nonetheless when they went into the battlefield, each one of them performed their own fight, and they were reciting the rajz, reminding people of the reason that they had come over here. Here they are fighting. Janab Zainab is sitting on musalla and making dua, not for their security and safety, rather, "Oh Allah, give them strength to be able to sacrifice unto my brother." As soon as the fight was over, the two young kids asked Imam Hussein to come for their help. Imam asked Hazrat Abbas, "Oh Abbas, accompany me. I will not be able to hold them two together." They go. Imam collects on, Abbas collects Muhammad, and they bring him back to the tent. Fizza comes into the tent. Last few sentences, Fizza comes into the tent and says to Janab Zainab, "Oh Zainab, Aun and Muhammad have come back. Oh Zainab, Aun and Muhammad have come back." Janab Zainab said, "I did not ask them to come back. I asked them to remain over there. I gave my qurbani. I did not want them to come back." Janab Fizza said, "Oh Zainab, come and take a look in which form they have come back." Zainab comes out of the tent, sees the bodies of Aun and Muhammad in the blood of the Aun and Muhammad. She raises her hands in the bargah of Allah. "Oh Allah, accept this qurbani from me." ألا لعنة الله القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون.